commissary and other things. Like I've said before, America is my country, so my laws would be enforced. And like I said, I wrote the Constitution. The dates on the back of the Constitution, most people didn't even know the Constitution had dates on the back of it, nor words written in invisible ink. And lots of people didn't realize it. I don't know why, but yes, there was invisible ink on Constitution, and of the Constitutions, there were 20 copies made, or something like that, or four at least. There were quite a few copies made, and they were taken to other places in the world, I believe, at the time. I forget the exact details of it actually, but anyway, though, I had some things done, and basically, it was pretty much how I wanted my people to be treated, or people to be treated within my countries, pretty much. And also the different laws and different ways and stuff like that. I wrote it down, and that's why I wasn't quite thoroughly enough apparently with my first rendition. So, and that's why I had the amended Constitution, which included a few other things. And stuff like that. So we had a few more things added and stuff like that, just to kind of flesh it out and make it a little more whole, since it is my country. Also, there were other things to do with. Also, there was a few other things. Like I say, the Indians were one of my groups as well. The American Indians were in my country, and like I said, I used to use them. I would ask them to look after the lost colonists, or the lost settlers. Like I said, the American settlers would wander off into the wilderness and get lost, or basically stuff like that. And the American Indians would come along, and they could track them, and they would find them lost or starving or hungry out in the wilderness a lot of times. Like I said, the American Indians, they lived in the wildernesses and around and stuff like that. And they had people wandering around, and they had been here a very, 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 very long time, I believe. Anyway, though, and they were known as the American Indians. Anyway, they used to hunt for the colonists, and we used to do a fair amount of trade with them, trading arrows and trading metals, stuff like that, pots and pans, things they needed, basically. I would trade with them, the bone arrows, stuff like that, very old things. And like I said, the American Indians had their own little tribal council. And a few times I asked them to move, and asked them to go be somewhere else, and also had them given certain parts of land, and I also gave them horses and other things. Like I said, they wanted to trade for like 500 or 800 horses, or 2,000 horses, which I had lots and lots and lots of horses. So I traded some horses, and at some point in time, I believe I also traded them some guns and stuff like that when they were being hunted down by someone. So anyway, and they promised to use their weapons for defense or something like that. Blah blah blah. And basically just protecting. And like I said, they were very, 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 very good hunters. Really good hunters. And like I said, they lived and breathed the wilderness. Anyway, very much at one with nature and all that stuff. And at least I believe that's what they were doing. Anyway, I don't know, it gets all complicated as thousands of years goes by, or time goes by. But basically, and I was the one who also kind of like grandfathered them in, as far as making them, a country within a country, because they were in my country, yet they weren't really. Anyway, it gets all complicated, but basically I wanted them, I recognized them as basically, or they were, whatever, I forget exactly the details of it. Anyway, though, but I was the one who actually gave them land, or made them separate from America, or whatever, or something like that, because they were saying that they're being hunted or something like that. So anyway, they were given lands, and I didn't mind having people within my country. Anyway, though, whatever, it doesn't really matter. But also things like the commissary and the jails, how the federal jails were run, stuff like that. That was basically by my direction, and all that other stuff, and even how the county jails are run. Basically, certain procedures and laws and stuff like that, rules, and basically how nice they look. It gets all complicated as I was building more jails, and eventually I think I don't know. I think I think that's where the slavery, or jails, gets kind of mixed up. It gets kind of confusing as I made some mistakes, maybe, as far as letting other people deal with prisoners or something like that. I'm not exactly sure what I directed having done. Anyway, though, but yes, everything about America was. I named the country, so everything about America was basically me. The money from my White Star Lines company, Basically my White Star Alliance people. Pretty much, like I say, I'm Lucifer White Star, so also known as American Citizen Brian. So anyway, though, with these videos, I tell you, some bits and pieces of my history and how everything came to be, how America came to be formed, and how your Constitution was set down. Because basically, I owned White Star Line Company, and we basically made this land our country. Like I said, I don't really know how many people were, like, technically I was managing the Aztecs as well, or they were part of my people or something like that. I'm not exactly sure. It gets all complicated as I lived for thousands of years or existed thousands or millions of years ago. But basically, they were my groups or whatever, and old paintings and stuff like that. It gets all complicated as I lived for so long and existed for so long and had so many people. But basically, yeah, I mean, I owned White Star Line Company, the Belfast, not the Harlem and Wolff. That was basically the recycling people, the people who recycled all the steel and stuff like that, or whatever. I'm not exactly sure. You talk to some Irish people or some British people, but basically, the Lucifer Star Shipyard, and Lucifer whatever Ceramics or whatever, or LC Shipyard and LS. I had a couple of different companies which were mine basically. Lucifer Star, also known as Lucifer White Star Lines. Like I said, because I had spaceships, I didn't want my spaceships to be confused with my seagoing ships. So that's why we added the line part, because it was Lucifer White Star Line ships and Lucifer White Star ships, or Lucifer Star ships, basically. Well, I guess it would be Lucifer Star ships and Lucifer Star Line ships. Anyway, so you could distinguish, because there's Titanic, there's what's called, and then there's also classes of spaceships that were as well, like the LSF-A. So anyway, well, many people would call me crazy. It's like, well, yeah, Empire. Like, lots of people would be like, Empire. It's like, yes, Empire. I was trying to discourage the whole empire idea, because that basically is pretty much saying that there's an empire, or that I'm necessarily, or that someone's at the top. I mean, other than me, I mean, I'm Lucifer Star, the Lucifer Star. So also known as Brian, Citizen Brian, American Citizen Brian. I made myself a citizen. So anyway, but also Lucifer Star. It's my name. Anyway, so whatever. Like I say, I don't really care, but when you see the word star, or when you see a star, well, I had a lot of people that worked for me, you see. So anyway, yeah. So Lucifer Star Line basically became America, pretty much. Or I just reclassified as America, basically. But it's still my company. It's still me. I'm the only one who's possibly more powerful than the American government, or at least I was at one point in time, as I'm older and, Lucifer Star. The Star Gazette, Star newspaper, Star this, Star that. People were saying that that I was destroyed, that all my people were killed, and that I was taken over. And it's like, how exactly? You mean by the U.S. people? USF people? I don't think so. Anyway, I'm from the stars. They're from space. I've been here like 3 times in a colony ship. So anyway, yeah, that's how it all happened, and lots of other stuff. Anyway, good luck with all that. Anyway, I'm not a conqueror. And I would say for years I'm not a conqueror. Anyway, a lot of my words, or a lot of things I said, would be echoed throughout time and space and history, and other people would copy me, or be like me, or use my ways of succeeding, because I succeeded so brilliantly well. Like I said, I effortlessly did lots of stuff. Well, I mean, I had 12 forms of life. I had exoskeletons, endoskeletons, and lots of other life forms. 12 different sentient races, advanced in nature. Advanced races, like I say, capable of space flight and time travel, and also nanotechnology. So most people would consider me the ascender of the one who ascended the most amount of life forms in the universe. As in, I led them through technology and up into space and the stars. And I am credited as having ascended, or at least made the most amount of life forms sentient and advanced. So, not just number one civilization builder, but also number one in basically getting life forms to become advanced and go up into space and become more, and possibly even build stars themselves, or big fusion reactors in space and planets. So anyway, that's what they say anyway.